So I think it's safe to say that everybody wants to live a happy and fulfilled and a peaceful life. But I think it's become really difficult to attain this in the world we live in. And with all the information that is being thrown at us all the time when we open our phones, when we look at the news, when we look at social media, or even in conversation with people that you're having. And you keep getting reminded how ugly and how scary and how terrible the world is and how terrible life is. And that's why I'm making this video. It's something I've been thinking about for a long time. Now for me there's two aspects to this topic. And I was actually thinking maybe I should divide it into two videos. But I think it's important to take those two topics at once, because this is, like the title says, accepting the harshness of life, right? Everything that comes with it. And one of these aspects is the harshness of daily life, of all the bad stuff that happens in the world on a daily basis. People getting killed, terrorists existing, war, human trafficking, road accidents, whatever. Just the stuff that you look at when you look at the news. And the other aspect is actually things that are inevitable in your own life that will happen and that are super difficult and scary to think about. But I think it's important to take both these aspects and try and work on accepting these things. But in trying to accept and come to grips with this harshness that reality is for us, I think we can find some peace, and I think we can free up a little bit of space in our mind to open it up for more positive things or the problems in your own life instead of the problems in everybody else's lives and in the world and whatever is happening right now. And it's not that the world has become such a more dangerous and scary place now than it's ever been. It has always been a really hard place. People have always been killing each other. People have always been at war. It's actually true that in humanity's time, only 2% of the time we haven't been at war with each other. This is just a fact. It's just, let's accept it. And right now, the war in Ukraine is happening. It's the first time that we can see everything that happens. Everything's being recorded. Everything's being brought to you on the news, all the sides, and you don't know what to believe anymore. You see this horrible footage. You see people dying. You see buildings get blown up. And the question I want to ask is that something that we should be looking at every day? If I would ask you, is it a good idea to fill your mind every day with all the bad stuff that's happening in the world? You'd probably say, no, that's not a good idea, that's not healthy. But guess what you do if you look at the news every day? That's exactly what you do. And I think we should start looking at this a little bit differently and maybe be a bit more conscious of how often we look at the news and how much it affects our own state of being and our own happiness. Now what a lot of people are scared of, I think, is that when they stop watching the news, that they don't know what's going on in the world anymore, or that they don't care enough about other people. But that's really not the case. You will still know what's going on, you'll still hear what's happening. There's enough places to find that information, and people will tell you the important stuff. But 90% of the stuff that you read, that's of no use to you at all, that just makes you depressed, you'll skip that. You won't need to hear that. And people will tell you, oh, did you see about this celebrity doing this and this? And you'll go, no, I didn't. And I don't fucking care. And that's the whole point, right? You shouldn't fucking care about celebrities. Care about your own life. Fix your own life. Fix the people around you. Make things better for yourself and for the people you love, instead of caring about what the fuck Brad Pitt did last weekend with Angelina Jolie. I don't care. So maybe for 1 week, let's start with 1 week, let's delete the news app. Let's not turn on the television at 8 o'clock to look at the news. Just for a week, see what happens. See if you're really missing stuff. See if you're really so far behind with everything. And just try it out. It's not gonna hurt you. And what starts happening when you focus on all that negativity less and less, you'll free up more space in your mind to think about the positive things and not worrying so much. And guess what happens when your thoughts are more positive? Your life starts to become more positive. Like the world reflects this back to you. You won't be looking for the scary things or for the scary people. No, you'll be looking at the awesome things and nature and the lovely people and people start giving you compliments, and you start giving compliments, and this is just a self-perpetuating loop that you get into, but upwards, right? Positive loop. So let's try and go there. Now here's the other part to this, and this part's actually way more difficult, and it's about life in general, life itself, and all the things that are inevitably going to happen to you in your life and to other people in your life. And it's basically things like dying and other people dying in your life. We all know that this is something that's going to happen, that's for sure. And you will see other people that you love dying. You'll see your parents dying. And this is not something that's fun to think about at all. It hurts, it's painful, it's difficult, it's sad. But the whole point of this video is to not just push this away and not just ignore this and not just thinking that, oh, it's going to take such a long time for this to happen, and not accepting it. It's about accepting it. And again, this is not easy, but it's possible. And so when we start thinking about this a little bit more, what slowly starts happening is that you find some acceptance in it. And you realize that this is inevitable. This will happen one day. And trying to find some peace in this, some acceptance in this. And behind that acceptance, which is a very long and slow process, you'll actually find some gratefulness for the fact that the people around you are still alive, the people that you still have. Your parents are still here, and they're still healthy, and you still have the opportunity to talk to them and to express your gratefulness to them. And this is a super emotional thing and a super emotional topic, but we have to go through these emotions to find that acceptance. And when you've kind of found your way of thinking about it and finding your acceptance in this harshness of life, of reality of life, then you'll find a bit more peace and find a bit more space in your mind to think about the positive things in your life. Like I just said about the other aspect to this, right? Don't clutter your mind with the negativity and the fear and being scared of everything and, oh, what if this happens, and what if this person dies, or what if I get sick, or what if he gets sick. Yes, these are things you have to think about, but don't worry about them the whole time. Accept that these things might and will happen, and there's where you find the peace. And there's always going to be this worry, and there's always going to be this fear of the bad things happening to you. But don't let this fear and this worry clutter your mind the whole day. Because then you're just living in a state of fear and a state of being scared of things. And guess what happens? The world's going to reflect this back to you. Your thoughts become your reality. And if you're scared the whole time, the world's going to be a scary place. People are going to be mean to you. And bad things actually do start happening in your life. And I think when you make that switch to more positive thoughts and not cluttering your mind all day with the bad news and with the scary thoughts and with all the fear, life becomes a bit more easy and a bit more, it's easier to accept things that happen to you and also the bad things that happen to you, because you've already been thinking about them. You've already come to grips with that. That's the reality that you live in. And that's where you find that peace, and that's where you find that happiness, and that's where you find that gratefulness for all the good things that you have, instead of just being scared of people and attracting that in your life. And I think that's the whole point of this video. This is not something that is easy and you just can just flip a switch in your mind. That's not how this works. This is something that never ends. This is something that you have to keep thinking about and coming to grips with. And that's where you find those more positive things, I think. So for me, what's the message to myself is, when you catch yourself, when I catch myself going to these bad thoughts and negative thoughts and finding the worst in things and worrying about the world too much, I want to take a step back and look at what I've been thinking about and trying to find more positive things in it and trying to find some acceptance and just thinking like, okay, that's the way the world is. Am I super happy about it? No. Would I love to see it changed? Yep. But am I gonna change it right now? Most of the times you're not. The only things that you can change is the things in your personal life and for the people around you that you love, that you actually have some hand in. So let's, instead of trying to fix the world, Try to fix your own life and your own little circle of people. And so I know this is a super hard topic and a super difficult thing to hear and think about all those bad things and your parents dying. It's not fun, but I do think it's important, and you'll find some peace in it. And that I hope that came across. So thank you for listening, and you got this.